Thank you for watching. This is Tuesday with Toya. My name is Victoria Fragoso, and I'm an independent artist. Just here to entertain you today with some live music and to interview Adam Fitch. Welcome, Adam. Awesome New York or New Jersey and New York singer-songwriter. Really wonderful folk stuff. I can't wait for him to play for you, and I can't wait to play for you either. If you have somebody in mind that you think might like some live music, please invite them. There's a little arrow or airplane down at the bottom that you can use to ask somebody to watch the live with you. I'm going to start off with a ukulele song. This is going to be a cover, a double, or what's called a mashup. So I'm excited to play it for you. I hope you like the songs. I'm sure you'll know at least one of them. I hope everybody's staying hydrated today. How's everybody doing? I see a whole bunch of people who hopped on. Theodosi, Spencer, hi, welcome. Nana, Mind Adjacent. Hey, Jasmine, Roger, hi there. Illiston, Kansas, welcome. Okay, ukulele music, perfect for a hot day, right? Is it playing? Okay. I needed to tune my uke. Normally these things stay in tune, which is really awesome, but yeah. Okay. Look at the stars, look how they shine for you and everything you do. They were all yellow. I came along, I wrote a song for you and all the things you do, and it was called Yellow. So then I took my turn. Oh, what a thing to have done, and it was all yellow. Your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones turn it into something beautiful. You know I love you so. You know I love you so. I swam across, I jumped across for you. Oh, what a thing to do, 'cause you were all yellow. I drew a line for you, and what a thing to do, and it was all yellow. Oh, your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones turn it into something beautiful. You know I bleed myself dry for you. I bleed myself dry. Falling to the ground, I was anxious to be found. You can always go home to the safety of your cloud. Don't let go, I need you to hang around. I'm so broke and foolishly in love. I turned around to love your feeling. What did I learn? It's not that easy when you get burned and go on burning loud. Falling into sound, there's a less defeating path. One day we will go home to the safety of our clouds. Don't let go, I need you to hang around. love. I turned around, my life was changing. What did I learn? It's not that easy when you get burned and go on burning loud. Go on burning loud. At the stars, look how they shine for you. Oh, what a thing to do. And they were all yellow. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Saw lots of hearts. Oh, I'm missing all the comments. Hi, how's it going? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Fitted. Hi, Art Parlor. Hi, Tony. Hi, the 80s. Love it. Hey, Cam. How's it going? Hi, Dad. Oh my gosh, everybody's here. Hi. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Matt. How's it going? And Dorian Guitar Works. Another awesome podcast going live tonight. 7:30, I think. Hi, Theopathy. Oh my gosh, Glendora. Oh my gosh. Okay, everybody's here. Hi. Well, thank you so much. That was my mashup of Yellow and Museum of Flight. That was Museum of Flight is a song, a Damien Jurado song. He is from Seattle. And yeah, I just really love that song. Perfect. So this week was really fun for me, or last week was really fun for me because I actually released 2 new songs. One is called Lost, and the other one is called Something to Say. I did a double-sided single. I wanted to kind of show... well, I just love that, like, nostalgic feeling of, like, seeing a vinyl record with, like, just 2 songs on it, one side, the A side, and one side, the B side. So I put, I've been doing that this year, and I put Lost on as my A side, and it's more of, like, I don't know, I guess I would say radio friendly, but it's just a little more poppy and fun. And then the softer side, Something to Say, is just a little bit more, like, emotional and things like that. I also got to see Tekla Waterfield and her husband Jeff perform at Sleight of Hand Cellars this past Saturday. Shout out to them and Sleight of Hand Cellars for such an awesome event. Alessandra Rose was also playing, and she was incredible. She reminded me of Amy Mann and Annie DeFranco. If you like that kind of music, definitely check Alessandra Rose out. Or if you really love folk, Tekla Waterfield was amazing. Oh, hey, Dean. How's it going? Hi, David. So next up, I'm going to play the songs that I released this week. Please check them out anywhere you're streaming your music, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music. Yeah, thank you. If you're lost in the park and there's no map to tell you where you are, think of me and you'll see a guiding light shining from your heart. Strong, it won't stray just 'cause you're lost. And does it hurt that bad? Does it hurt that bad? Does it? If you're lost are, think of me and you'll see a guiding light shining from your heart. Don't you know my love is strong? It won't stray just 'cause you're lost. Would it was something to, or that was Lost. I'm so sorry. It has a really fun beat, so I definitely encourage you to check it out if you haven't heard it. Thank you. Thanks for all the love, Cam, Nana. I did just commit to playing some shows in Seattle at Gasworks Park. Very excited to get out in the wild and hopefully play in good weather. And that'll be July 24th and August 28th. Yeah, both of them are Sundays. So if you're in the Seattle area, come check it out. It's a community through unity event put on by Full Spectrum Performance. And if you're into meditation, they have some really great meditations on their YouTube channel. So that's Full Spectrum Performance. Yeah, excited to see anybody who wants to come, and hopefully we'll enjoy some sunshine together. If you want to invite anybody else to join us watching live, please use the little arrow down at the bottom. And let's get this party started. I'm going to play one more song, and then we're going to get Adam Fitch on here. Yeah. It's also really hot, so if I start sweating, this is nothing. We got to turn off all the fans, so. Whew. Okay. Something to say. You probably won't like it one bit. You hate to talk about your feelings, don't know how much more I can take. Lying to yourself, creating this illusion that if you don't ask for help, nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong. The way you smile when you don't mean it, all the space you paint between us, you swear you don't see it. Something's wrong, something's wrong. Darling, don't tell me I can't face the truth when the only one telling stories is you. When you want me to stay, lying to yourself, creating this illusion that if you don't ask for help, nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong. The way you smile when you don't mean it, all the space you paint between us, you swear you don't see it. Something's wrong, something's wrong. Darling, don't tell me I can't face the truth when the only one telling stories is you. Thank you. Thanks for the love. I saw little hearts going up. Welcome to, oh, hey Ray, how's it going? Awesome. Yeah, so that was my last song for today. That was called Something to Say, and that was on my newly released double-sided single. So definitely check it out. And look out for some videos on that song next week. I'll be posting to my Instagram, and if you want to learn more about Lost, you can check my last posts, and I did a little bit about the lyrics and about the song, so thank you. So we're going to get Adam on here so we can talk music and social media and all these wonderful fun things that exist in the life of an artist. So I will... And we'll get him on very shortly. Cool.
That's not the direction I want.
I was like, I hear sound. Hi.
Yeah, here we go. Hey.
How's it going, Adam?
It's going great. Thanks for having me here.
Good, yes. I'm so glad we could connect. And how are you doing? Where are you, by the way?
I am in...
Yeah, what state?
Upstate New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Welcome. I mean, this is, I think you're the first person I've been talking to on the East Coast. So I'm very excited to talk with you today. I was talking a little bit about your music earlier, I think you heard, so I just generally categorized you as folk. I saw on your website you're compared to like Connor Oberst, but I mean, I think you're completely an original as well. So I would love if you could play a song for us and let everybody hear the magic that is your music.
Absolutely. Yeah, happy to.
Cool.
Do you hear me? Do you hear me okay through here? Now I don't hear you.
I muted myself and then I tried to explain. I'm
Okay.
sorry. So if anybody who's watching the live hears any kind of funny sounds or isn't hearing very well, please just let us know in the chat. That way we can address that. But you sound great for over here. So, yeah.
Great. Okay. So this song is called The Garden. We spent the whole day in the garden with nothing but a heart, a guitar, and our hearts. And our notes floated through the air like rose petals and landed in your palm. So you made your way through the brush and decay, through the trudge of the everyday, till you found your home on a small grassy knoll. Laid your head down and let it all go. When you learned that diamonds were not what you needed, they sparkled your mind but could never feed it. And all of your life you were deaf to the music inside, till finally you let yourself cry. Oh, let yourself cry. Let your pain go. Oh, let yourself cry. When we saw your bones laid out all alone, we called your name and drew you close, and we held the space. In a circle we sang while the spirit nestled your soul. You said all that you needed was some warmth, a safe place to wait out the storm. So we all watched the rain as it fell down your face, shed the old so the new truth could form. When you said the diamonds were not what you needed, they sparkled your mind but could never feed it. And all of your life you were deaf to the music inside, till finally you let yourself cry. Oh, let yourself cry. Let your pain go. Oh, let yourself cry. Let your pain go. Oh, let your pain go. Let your pain go.
Amazing. So good. I,
Oh, thank you.
I love the way you end it too. Just like let it go. So good.
Yeah,
Is that a new
appreciate
one?
it. It is, well, it's not one that I have recorded,
Okay.
but it's,
Because I was like,
yeah,
I don't remember that one. I feel like I would.
it's newer. It's newer than the recordings for sure.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Do you have plans to release that soon-ish?
Not that song. I have a song coming out on the 22nd called Grace.
Oh, great.
Yeah, but that song is next on the docket of recording, so it hasn't been recorded yet.
Very cool. I love those lyrics. Like, I think my favorite line is probably "Dead to the music inside till finally you heard yourself cry." And then you also had a really great line about the rain. We watched the rain fall down your face. That was just such great imagery. Um, so where can we start? How long have you been playing guitar?
Um, 16 years.
Wow, that's amazing. How did you first like pick that up?
I picked it up. A friend of mine, at the time, I was a big fan of Blink-182, so they're no longer my biggest inspiration, but they were at that time. And a friend of mine who was a bassist, who I really liked to listen to and play, I was just like, I need to join him somehow. And he taught me my first Blink-182 song, and then I got obsessed from there and didn't stop.
That's really cool. I love the way that you play. It's like a lot of finger picking and things like that. Like, obviously, that takes a lot of time and skill to learn. What have you learned any other instruments, or is that your main instrument?
It's definitely my main instrument. I mean, I can pick up a few different things. I mean, I play some bass, and
Oh, cool.
I've in another life I would say I was a drummer. Like I think I have like a natural thing there, but I never practiced. So yeah.
And speaking of like production, do you also produce your own songs?
No. I mean, I'll do the best that I can with like social media, video
Sure.
sort of stuff. But no, I've worked with a couple people over time, and yeah, learning more and more what I want in that way. You know, it's like that's a whole other game to play. Is like the production, like the layering things, and how to yeah, I'm learning now how to like let go of all of the control. You know what I mean? And let other people that I trust kind of like offer what they do that I don't do well. So yeah, I'm learning that.
That is really neat because I mean, to me, it sounds like I think the consistency in your music that I've heard from Spotify and things like that probably just comes from your songwriting and the way that you play your guitar. So I think a lot of that just like carries through very solidly. But all of your music sounds really well produced, but also very cohesive. So you sound like I just love the like. I can just keep listening to your music on repeat, and you think, oh, is this somebody new? No, it's not. It's still Adam. That's awesome. I remember, so I first heard your music on Instagram. I heard the song Love Note to God back in August of last year. And so that's how I started following you. But what can you tell us a little bit about that song? Because that's just like one of my favorite ones that you've done. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, first off, I appreciate everything you just said, especially from another musician. Like that reflection is really beautiful. So, but yeah, that song I wrote. What inspired me was I went to Israel a number of years ago, and
Wow.
and like like at the wall, you know, like the wall. I what everybody generally does is like they write like little notes or little prayers and they stick it in the wall
Okay.
in Jerusalem, and so that song it was inspired by that. Um, and I'm Jewish. But there's always like a spiritual element to like most of my songs.
Okay.
Um,
I
and what's that?
I said I can feel that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm not religious, but I don't know. There's something about the word God that I like to throw into into songs, um, for different reasons. But yeah, so that's what inspired it, and there's also just like a lot of flavors of like some of my past and some of my struggles with different things thrown in there. Um, but yeah, it's a big song of like surrender to something bigger.
Hmm. Yeah, really
Yeah.
cool. I think one of my favorite lyrics in that one is just the imagery of you like writing love notes to God and then leaving them in different places. And now that you explain the wall thing, now I get it. But that line, they're reminders to find him when you get lost, just the way that you sing that and the way that it comes across. I mean, have you ever done a music video for that?
I did actually. Someone that just popped on, Aaron Holistic Arts. Hey, Aaron. Um,
Hey.
it it was just like a live kind of thing that we threw together, but not like an official
Yeah.
um, big sort of thing.
There's just so much
Yeah.
amazing, yeah, imagery in all of your music, but especially I think that one, I mean, that's what kind of like hooked me to your music. But yeah, it would be really cool to get some shots in Jerusalem one day, then like put that to the song. That's just so neat. Um, how long were you visiting?
It was 10 days. I did what's it called? What are those? I'm blanking.
It's
When you said before you were talking about like turning off the fan when you were playing, and then it's so hot in the room. I did that, and now I feel like I'm like I can't even. My brain is like slowing down. Um, so
Same.
what was the question again?
I was just asking how long you were in Israel. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was those free trips for being Jewish. You get to go to Israel for 10 days with a
Oh,
group of people, and yeah, just for being it's quite the opportunity. So
oh wow.
yeah, so I did that, and I got to travel with like a group of people on a bus just throughout the whole area. It was incredible, really, a really beautiful experience.
That's super cool. And you seem kind of nomadic from what I've seen in your posts. Do you travel a lot, or you have traveled a lot?
Yeah, yeah, I've traveled a lot, lived in a lot of different places, and I'm starting to get to a point where I want to chill out a little bit, but it might not be time yet. I haven't found the perfect place yet to do that.
Very cool. Well, besides Jerusalem, where else have you felt like you really loved like the experience where you were at?
I loved where I was at.
Or maybe another song that it inspired, that your travels inspired.
Well, this song that's gonna come out actually called Grace was also inspired. It was inspired me being on that trip, and um, it was kind of like I'm not generally like a love song person, but it was like this like deep connection that I had with someone there that didn't like turn into anything, but it was just like these like seeing this moment of like seeing one another
Mm,
like as you are, and connecting in that deep place without having any expectation around it.
that's really
Um,
cool.
yeah, so that's what the new song that's going to be coming out.
Wow. And it is really interesting to note how like just general emotions or like situations, even things that like don't come to fruition or don't actually like happen in real life, just the thought of them happening, I think is so cool. It's such a great inspiration for music.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, imagination, gets to just run wild. That's, yeah, all the creative juices for me. It's like, of course, I write about experience, but also more so my emotional experience and
Hmm.
my like um, mental experience as well, I guess. Yeah, there's so much you can do in your own self, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, you can travel very far in your mind for sure. What would you say, when did you first start writing your music? Like what was your first song?
Um, my first song. Well, it's interesting. I said that I started with Blink-182, and then from there I went much heavier, and so I was playing like like screamo music, and then like metal, and then like death metal. And I was like a long-haired metal kid, getting concussions at shows, like that sort
Oh
of.
my gosh.
Like on stage, like my very first show, I like headbanged so hard that I got a concussion. So that
No
was,
way.
yeah, it was an interesting experience. Um, but so I was writing that sort of music for a while, and then the shift into like this sort of music, like a few years after that, I think I was out of a band for a while, and I was like, how can I was interested in learning how to sing. You brought up Conor Oberst. Um, I wouldn't say that he's someone, I wouldn't say that I sound like him at this stage of anything, but I would say he was my biggest inspiration into
Okay.
starting songwriting. Um, and he, and so I taught myself how to sing. I'm going to say like around like 17 or so, 16, 17. Um, and yeah, I went through that process of starting to write songs. So to answer your question, I don't know exactly the first song, but a song that I have released, it's called Tattered Sheets. I think it's the newest one I released.
Hmm.
Is a song that I wrote when I was 17. So it was one of the first songs that I wrote that I
Wow.
brought in. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's so interesting. Because yeah, I mean, I know it is one of your more recent songs, and I love that song, and it's so cool to. I mean, I don't know. It's just yeah, I wouldn't think of that as like your being your first song, or realize that I don't know. You just, yeah, you're a very good writer, so I'm very impressed by everything that you put out, and I can't wait to hear Grace. Um, and then when is that out again?
22nd
20.
of July.
Very cool. Do you find that your melody or your lyrics tend to come first when you're writing, or?
I find that it's generally the guitar.
Okay.
And it will be like, I find the word that I would use for it is like, I find the colors that like match where my emotional self is at the time. Like, I like to explore a lot of different like kind of jazzy chords and some different things. And just find the right kind of like coloring. That's how I would word it. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Or
Totally.
but and that tends to like spark really, all I'm looking for when I'm trying to write is like one line. Like I don't go into anything like, oh, I'm gonna write about this situation or this person, or it's like I don't generally do that. I just want to get like one line that hits something in me, that like inspires something bigger.
Mhm.
And then that line sprouts into something after that like, yeah, again, I didn't anticipate, but kind of takes on a life of its own. So that's usually how it goes for me.
Very cool. Yeah, I was watching, I can't remember which YouTuber I was watching yesterday, but he was talking about how different chords give like different emotions. And I think along the same lines, like a different color. You're painting with music, right? So your blank canvas is like an empty sheet. And when you start to put those chords on it, you're creating colors. And so those colors usually have like connotations, right? Whether it's like, very depressing or angsty or very happy or joyful or very spiritual. I think, yeah, that's interesting that you say jazzy too. When I hear your music, I guess I don't dissect it as much, the music, because it feels like, I guess with the finger picking, like it feels so full, right? So there's like, seems to be so many layers to it. So how do you like, so this is actually today, I realized, is July 12th. This is 2 years, your anniversary for your very first release on Spotify. What started you thinking that you wanted to share like your music with other people, or like get it out on streaming platforms and start producing and, putting it out there instead of just performing live?
That's a good question. What shifted there? I I had so I just had so much music I was sitting on over the years, and I think just like getting over certain fears. I think like I've wanted to do it for a long time. I've wanted to get into a studio. It's like I would make certain excuses inside of myself, like around like, oh, it's too much money, or it's like all the different things that can come to kind of block that. And I never had I feel grateful, like I don't have a block in the creative process. Like even when like I go through periods where I'm not writing,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like judging myself for it. You know, I'm like, oh, this is kind of the process. And but yeah, to start recording and putting it out, it was like, I don't know, I had to do some growing up internally, and yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
I mean,
Um,
it's a big process. It's a big undertaking. So I can understand what you're talking about in terms of like having fears of like putting your stuff for other people to really like have in mass in bigger numbers, right? Nobody is like it's just it's a lot of work too. Like, and
yeah,
I think what I love about songwriting is it can be so simple. The songs can like really just come out of you sometimes. And so when it becomes that bigger process and you have to involve more people, and then maybe you don't like their perspective of how your music should sound, it can feel like it's a big undertaking. There's too much, and it's not like as sometimes it can feel maybe like not as authentic, but I think it's really great the way that your producers have been able to capture your sound in the songs that you've released. So I think that's really cool, because I think sometimes that's where I feel like I used to lose my music a lot in the production. So I think that's really great that that you finally, you know, got to feeling like this was something that you needed to share in like a bigger sense.
yeah, yeah. And it's interesting. I mean, like the first three songs that I released, including obviously what you're talking about, "In the Breath of the Moonlight," the song from 2 years ago. Those three songs, like I went into like a professional studio. I like hired a couple of like professional musicians that were
Wow.
connected with that studio, and it was all like within like a 2 day period of just like a number of hours, and like and a lot of money spent to like get all of that done. And you kind of I kind of realized it's like, oh wow, like I didn't have a lot of time to really make that all, you know, turn into what I wanted it to be more completely. But I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know it was my first time, you know. But and then these last songs that have been coming out since the first three, that I have like another six that I've been sitting on that I recorded. I was down in Mexico um, when the pandemic hit,
Oh wow.
and so I was only going to be there like a month and a half, and I wound up staying for 5 months and recording with someone there, like much more cheaply, and where I could go in for hours and hours and hours and hours and like layer it and do it and do it.
I mean,
And it's just all these situations that there's so much like that you learn in that process, you know, and yeah, building the sound that who you really are, you know, through all the trial and error of it. But so it's like I'm learning I love the process, but yeah, the process of then like promotion and, you know, paying the money to the right things to make the
mhm.
things happen like that's where all the fears still kind of block me at times. But yeah.
That's really cool. That makes a lot of sense too. Like, yeah, do you spend more money on session musicians, or like, do you, you know, just try to do it yourself? Is it best to be minimal, or like, you know, it's, yeah, lots of big questions, right? Um, and I just lost my train of thought. But it is really yeah. How hot is it over there?
I'm like, and now like I'm staring at the light too, and it's just
Uh-huh.
like my eye.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I'm like, what's happening right now? How? I mean, it's today was like around 90, I think. So
Okay. I feel a little
yeah,
better now hearing you say that. I'm so
yeah.
sorry.
I'm like getting dizzy. I'm like, okay, Adam, we can do it. We just focus in.
I'm thinking, yeah, it's only an hour and I've got my ring lights on me and things like that, so that's kind of funny. Um, yeah, I'm losing my train of thought. But so, oh, I was gonna ask about, so how did you come from also just writing songs and being an artist? I mean, and then starting to do lots of things on social media. What kind of transition was that like for you?
Yeah, I'm gonna say like similar to the process of getting into the recording. I I had such a block around it. I'm just like, you know, I think a lot of artists do, where it's just like I don't want to promote myself, like kind of goes against everything that, you know, I I am and what I want to be, and like I don't want to
Mhm.
like be like, hey, look at me, like pay attention to me. I'm doing a thing. You might like it. Come here, come here. Um, but I think it's just again, it's like this process of like being with that and then growing up more and more within it and being like, okay, how can I figure out ways to do it where it feels good and I don't feel like I'm selling myself in some weird way.
Mhm.
Um, and it's yeah, and then I like hit a period maybe like a year and a half ago. I never used Instagram. I wasn't really on social media much at all until about a year and a half ago, and then I just started to experiment and just like reach out to a lot of different musicians and like try to connect and connect and connect. And then like I saw it starting to build and build, and the numbers starting to build more, and it made more sense. But then it's such a trial and error thing. Then I burn out, and I'm like, oh man, like I need to take a break from this, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's strange. It's constantly changing now too. It's like now TikTok is the thing, and how do you break that? And then it's going to change again. So it's a challenge, but the challenge is always more internal than anything else. It's just like we can do it. How can I soften myself enough to like do these things without being grumpy about it? So,
Amen. Yeah, I think it's really hard to be an artist on any social media platform, because not only are you putting yourself out there, but you're trying to capture attention without being like a little promo sign, like a little advertisement saying like, hey, yeah, look over here, 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Okay, I got 2 seconds. What do I do?
it's like literally 2 seconds now. It's like, how do you entertain someone in 2 seconds? That's the
really, like, it's shock value or any kind of like shock factor. I think that's where mostly people like there has to be some weird crazy big text to like stop the scroll, but that's what I loved watching on Instagram, how different indie artists do their social medias, because everybody I think has like their own. I would say like the typical one is you see an artist there and they're playing their song. So what about it like captures you? Is the sound like really good, or is it just like the person's emotion like is really coming through? The lyrics, if they're on the page or if they're in the text, like how are we, really connecting with this person who's like miles and miles away? And that's what I think is so wonderful about music in general, is that it does connect. Even if you can't understand, if somebody's speaking in another language and they're singing and playing guitar, I mean, it still comes through. So even though, yeah, it's just like a double-edged sword. It's like it's a great place to connect with other musicians, because you get to hear and experience and see things that you normally wouldn't. Like I couldn't go see you live. I'd have to watch your Instagram to see a live footage, unless I wanted to. There's no way I can pay a ticket to go all the way to New York, So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
it's a trip.
Yeah. What would you say when you're hitting these walls for like social media creation and things like that? Where do you find like the push or like that inspiration to get back into like connecting with people?
I think one thing is like doing something drastically different. I made a video today, because I've been hitting this a little bit lately with the social media stuff, and I made a video today on TikTok, which was just like a really ridiculous, like absurd video, just to get myself like shake it off a little bit, just like let it like get off of me a little bit, all the kind of ickiness that it can feel like, because just talking about it again is like the learning how to make content that whatever engages people. It gets so messy in a way where it's like it gets like subtly manipulative, or like doesn't, like you're not quite being yourself anymore. Like obviously people gravitate to like genuine, right? But they can also be tricked into something as well. So it's like hard to find it. So it's like I think when I make something ridiculous and just like don't care what it is, I think that can help to change the energy up to to find myself a little bit more, where I could be like, okay, I can do this. It's like, yeah.
I think, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like just shaking it off and like just not being afraid to like just do what you're gonna do. Because I think, yeah, there are so many things that are like calculated or targeted. Everybody who's watching, I mean, if there is any thoughts that you have on watching artists on social media, please share it in the comments. I think we'd both like to hear it. I see mine adjacent. Authenticity is hard to find in the algorithms. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. It's not something that a computer could determine really, because what makes a person, I think, unique or authentic is like there's some sort of like energy passing through the phone that's like very organic, very like, and you don't know what that person is going to be like on the other side. The person that the viewer, you know, maybe had a really tough day, a hard day, and they're singing, they're hearing your music, and they're like, oh my God, like that really touches me. And an algorithm isn't going to know that feeling, isn't going to know what drives people to connect with people, even if it knows like, yeah, this person just spent like 3 hours scrolling on this person's, you know, Instagram or whatever. You're going to see that, but that's all you can really tell. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of it just like, it kind of it doesn't make sense, at least to me. Like yesterday I posted a video, I was singing Hallelujah.
Yeah.
And
Great.
it was the first time where I had like this moment of like, boom, like it was like, oh, in like 30 minutes there's like 25,000 views. I'm like, where did this come from? Like, how did this happen? And it was awesome. It was a super interesting and bizarre kind of sensation to like look at your phone and be like, things just keep popping. And then today I just posted another part from the song, and it was like back to the normal thing, you know what I mean? So it's like, what is this? It's like, whatever it is, it's like, I don't know. At the end of the day, just keep going.
Yes.
You just keep.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. It's like, you guys all loved this yesterday. Where is everybody? Where's 25,000 people? Where are you today?
Yeah, it's weird, and it's not the people. It's like you know, the app or whatever sends it to whoever it decides to send to, and then that's just it. And
yeah.
It is what it is.
That's pretty wild, but it is really hard to capture attention these days, and then not just capture it, but keep it. In terms of like connecting with your fans. But yeah, the algorithm, I mean, yeah, it's very interesting. And like you said earlier, it's always changing. A lot of these platforms are finding different ways to categorize how they want their viewers to act, what they want them to click. So yeah, pretty interesting. The life of an artist. I mean, you have to be your own like tour manager, agent, design artist, like sometimes producer. There's just a lot of hats. So
yeah, a lot of hats. It's like both. It got harder and easier at the same time. You know, in different ways. You know, it's like, oh, now we have more control than ever, and we like you know, labels can control us in the ways that they did before. Like you build your own audience, and then they have to come to you and not take as much money as they, you know, would have in the past, like things like that. It's like it's a wild change in like the power dynamic, but you have to do so much on your own. And so, yeah, it takes a certain kind of like really like bullish sort of person to really succeed in it. You know, you really have to like, yeah, just keep moving.
That's great advice for anybody watching who's an artist or who watches it later. Just keep going no matter what, like how many likes you get or what kind of comments you receive. If it's something that you're passionate about, that eventually is going to come through. And I liked what you said too about, you know, it's like you get better at doing some of wearing all these different hats, but then your expectations are also rising with it too. So you're thinking like, well, I did this last time, I want to do this better now, or do this and do more. And so, yeah, just that like added pressure, but also the belief and that drive to continue to do more and feel like you can do more because look what you've already achieved. I think that's really cool. And social media can help capture like how far you come. I think that's another really cool thing about looking back on like old posts and old stories and things like that. Like, I mean, me personally, I didn't like to be in front of a camera and I don't like to perform live, but all of these things, you know, started to change as soon as I realized, you know, this is not gonna work if you're just posting videos of like a piano, you know, like you got to show people who you are as a person and what, you know, and that passion has to come through in some way.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, every time I like go on TikTok now and I hear some like promotional music-y kind of person, they talk about like the importance, not even so much of the music, like the songwriting has to be good, but it's more so like, do we see your personality? Like, do we feel like we know you personally and that there's a connection personally,
Mhm.
and that's where people keep coming back. And I agree with that person. Like I understand that and feel that. Like
Mhm.
yeah, the people that I end up I keep going back to their stuff is because of that connective quality. But it's like, yeah, again, like how do you do it in a way where you're being authentic, but it's also like if you're a more introverted person, authenticity might look a little different.
Mhm.
And so how do you how are you both introverted and yourself and be outward with who you are? That's a challenge for I'm sure a lot of artists.
Yeah, yeah, that is definitely the struggle. It's like you don't want to be seen or heard, but you have to be seen or heard if you want to
Yeah.
be a musician or an artist. Um, yeah,
Right.
that is pretty, yeah, it's just wild. But it's cool that, yeah, like you said earlier too, that we have now this shift in power dynamic and we do have more opportunities than we used to have. Um, Mind Adjacent says, raise his hand. Let us know your question. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I see. Raising your hand is like, that's me too. Yeah, I got it. Perfect. So with not trying to be too promo, but like where do you normally post on social media? Is it Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram and TikTok at
Okay,
this point. And I don't generally share the same things on both sometimes, but they tend to be a little different.
cool. And is your handle the same on TikTok? Adam?
Yep. Yeah. Adam Fitch Music. Yep. Got it.
And then for streaming your songs, we can pretty much find everything everywhere except for Bandcamp. I noticed, is there really only 2 songs on there?
Yeah, I think there's just a couple of
Okay.
songs that are different than I think the rest. Maybe not. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah.
I'll have to double check that. But if you're watching and you loved Adam's performance or you just want to check out more of his music, please follow him on Instagram and check out the streaming platforms. There's just some really great, amazing songs, but I would definitely recommend to listen to Love Note to God first. I mean, that to me is just the classic. And can't wait for your release on July 22nd. Grace. Very cool.
Yeah.
Mind Adjustment says, thanks, guys. Get some fresh air. Yeah. We got to turn those fans back on in a minute, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's
thanks for hanging out.
yeah, it's been so great to talk to you, Adam. I'm really glad that we got to connect. And yeah, I really enjoyed our conversation, especially about all this social media stuff, because it's not easy, but it's cool to see other people like doing well and doing their thing. So definitely everybody check out the Hallelujah post, the second one as well. It's such a great cover. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And then for everybody watching, I'll be back next week with a very special episode with Ray Sosa, my very first guest that I started all of this with. So very excited to come back next week, and then hopefully we'll have Adam back on eventually too. All right, everybody, stay hydrated, stay cool, and I'll see you in 1 week.